And welcome back to Foreign Friday with yours truly and 22-1 Tom over there, but he's really over there. Everything's backwards on the screen. But nonetheless, hey, we returned to the scene of I don't want to say it was a crime, but it was almost criminal how easy it was to pick those 2-year-olds, except for that big field, Tom.
Yep. Well, we want to drive ourselves crazy, so we have another big field.
Yeah, so 4 small fields and then a 25 horse field. So I like the 25 horse fields. They're the most challenging. The funny thing is, the last time we got together on Foreign Friday, I didn't feel at all good about that big field. But for some reason, I feel good about the big field and a little less unsure on my footing for the smaller fields. What about you? What was your feeling?
The big field is the usual crazy. We'll see what happens, but the one thing to note on that race is what the last 17 races, 16, the post 16 or farther out has won. So if you're looking at horses on the inside, you may want to relook at them.
Wow, I didn't even pay attention to that. So,
ooh, okay.
You go, wow, what are you going to do? I focused on jockeys who win at
side note on there that race is it's a long race to begin with, but it seems those outside posts are where you want to be. So 16 are out. And also remember, some of those fields are have been bigger, so they can have the maximum of 34 horses in the field.
Well, I focused on jockeys winning at 42%. I'll go with that too. But 100% is better than 42%.
Yep.
I agree with you. Even I understand that, which is not that hard to understand. All right, just a couple of quick cleaning house items before we get started. As always, there are free picks available at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link in the description. Make sure you click on that so they know where it is you are coming from. If you are playing today, which is Friday, there is free picks today at Delaware Park. Our good friends in Turkey might like that, so take a look at that. Unfortunately, Tayfon, we're not doing Keeneland today. If you want Keeneland, you can head on over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. You can look for free picks right here. Click on Keeneland, and you'll get all of the top picks for this day. Of course, when the show is over, like we do always, a little bit later on today, we'll post a recap along with all of our comments over at horseracingtoday.net with a replay of the show. And in the description on YouTube, we will timestamp every one of the 5 races we're doing today at Newmarket for Saturday. There will be free picks while you're at Guaranteed Tip Sheet on Saturday and Sunday and Monday. Every day, there's something free over there to play. And then kindly hit on that HRT gear link when you go over to horseracingtoday.net. Get yourself a Horse Racing Today number 13 hat. Bring some luck into your life and wear the 13 or the 7, whichever way it is you want to play it. Today or tomorrow at Newmarket, it's interesting, good to soft. It's like no in the middle there, like yielding, just straight from one to the other. Is there a particular reason why they have it listed like that?
Well, today's racing, it was listed as good to soft, good in places. So, and the weather, it's calling for no rain. So my assumption is that'll continue to dry out.
So it'll lean more towards good than soft.
It seems to be. It's been soft too. I wouldn't even go so far as say very softer, but now it's a little more in that mid range, whatever. And so any horse that likes a little juice in the ground, you got to look at.
So the first race is the Space Blues Darley Stakes. It's a Group 3. It's 1 mile, 1 furlong. Again, mentioned over here, good to soft. 8 runners, but I think one of them, there were 9 originally. One is scratched, which I think is going to impact Tom's picks. At 1 mile and a furlong, it looks like they're going to start right back here somewhere and then make their way straight down the straightaway. Undulations downhill, uphill at the end of the race. Thomas,
a little dip at about when you're about a furlong away, and then it that rises up.
And then in the racing today, any particular side of the post positions that had an edge?
Far side seems to be doing well. They've been running up the middle. Speed is not holding.
Speed is not holding. So come off with the closers, stay away from the speed, and stay away from the inside horses. Go to the far rail. Sounds like a pretty good plan to me, Thomas. And based upon that plan, go ahead and tell us how you plan on them finishing.
Let's make sure I've got the because I didn't check. I should have checked.
Well, the 9 horse, which was your top pick, is not in the race anymore.
Yeah, that's okay. That one is what I thought had potential to be stretched. So I'll only have 2 picks, but that's okay. I'm going to
good enough. If you got the winner and the place horse, you don't need anything else.
I hope so. I'm going to start with 8, Lead Artist. 3-year-old, never been out of his money in 5 races. Ran second to Kinross last time out. Kinross ran on Sunday during Arc Day and ran second to a horse that's on her way to the Breeders' Cup Mile. And she looks pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
It's won a mile in a Group 3 before. I can't see him not running well. Going to be one of the favorites, and it's a Gosden. And it seems that like their horses are finally coming into form. So you gotta. I'm gonna when it comes to Breeders' Cup, if he's how many he's going to bring over, I don't know at this point. But I'm certainly going to take a serious look at him.
Mm-hmm.
1 El Marnier, I think is the pronunciation, is my final choice. So it'll be ran third in Paris in Group 3, beginning of September. Comment was interesting. He had nothing less left in the final furlong. Well, what are they doing? They're shortening him up.
Good idea.
Not a bad idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the distance is a little too long for him. So this may be a better distance. He's won at this distance at Sandown. Tom Marquand returns to the saddle, and possibility could win.
So we started off, like I said, 2 horses. Maybe that's all you need because we both start off the same way. I think Lead Artist is the one to beat here. And, I try as much as I do in all of our shows to get away from the favorite if possible. And because, everybody knows that betting a favorite is a great way to lose money, right? It's an underperforming ROI. But I feel like a lot of the other horses in this race are going to have to really up their game to beat this one. And that's if that one runs its average race. Any improvement for Lead Artist, and I think it'd be really hard for the other 7 to get by this one. And then I followed that one up with Al Mubir as well. The first up record, really solid. The good to soft record, really solid. And as you mentioned, Tom, they're making some changes to perhaps help the horse run a distance that's more preferable. I got more than 2 picks, though, just in case the first 2 are wrong. Liberty Lane is the third choice for me. When this horse is run on the type of surface that we're going to see tomorrow, it has put up its best performances. And then finally, Spirit Dancer, Thomas. Take a little bit of a long shot right here. This one's coming down in class, back to the grade 3 or Group 3 level, as they call it over there. And it hasn't performed as well as it would like in Group 1 or Group 2, but when it's faced Group 3 company, the horse has performed just fine. So maybe going back down in class is the answer. And 14-1 would certainly be well worth the question. Can't forget about the predictor, Thomas. Yeah, we've been away from Foreign Fridays a little more than we like, but hey, you should get on a little bit of a run between now and the Breeders' Cup. So let's see what the predictor says. Forget about this race. Whoa, Liberty Lane gonna smoke them, according to the predictor. And then right in there for a not so close second, it's the 2 that we like, Lead Artist and Al Mubir. So that's a pretty interesting take there by the predictor, Thomas.
Yeah, well, they're basing it off that big win last time out, but he's moving up in class. So from a heritage handicap to a Group 3, and it's definitely got the form. The question is, can it get the job done?
Yeah, against some better company. Yeah. Race number 2, there are no scratches, Tom, so we get the fullness of your wisdom. It's going to be 1 mile and 2 furlongs. Again, we'll go back to what the track looks like here. 1 mile and 2 furlongs. All the way at the back here, same pretty much race that we'll see at 1 mile and 1 furlong. They'll just go a little bit longer, not much. I'd imagine that you'll see some of the same things you see at 1 mile and 1 furlong. As Tom mentioned, horses to the outside are doing better horses to the inside. Speed's not holding up. So take a look at some closers, perhaps, in your selections, and then take a look at Tom's selections as well.
No dead closers were winning. It was all mid-pack types.
All right. And what do you got?
Now we'll start with number 7, Too Soon. On her last start on the heavy going at Epsom. And she's run 3 times, and she's been improving each race. A little better, a little better. Going to add distance today. Going to move her up in class. Likes a little moisture. It's going to be a tough horse. 5, Stars in Hare's Eyes. Next choice, a short-priced favorite last time out on a soft going at Leicester. I didn't want it that race. I should point out that race was a race for horses who have not run more than 3 times. So a little bit of a restriction on that. Ran second at Newmarket on good ground. Its first start. I kind of like that run too. And on the same track. Let's see what they can do here. Finally, we'll take 4, Shackleton. My final choice. Finally won its maiden last out at the Curragh. It was running on the lead in that race, so not necessarily one I want to put on top. Other 2 starts ran second. Should point out in one of those races, he looked awful in the paddock. Broke out in a sweat in the starting gate and still got second. Green, so this horse is kind of a mess right now. It sounds like they're, they get it into its right rhythm, so to speak. But it gets the services of Ryan Moore this time around, and he tends to win races.
Well, in a 7-horse field, I only allowed per Sean's instructions to pick 3. So I'm going to go with one that you didn't pick, Thomas. Green Storm. So between the 2 of us, we have 4. It's a little bit of a foreshadowing of my next 2 picks. But Green Storm, last time out, just smoked the field, won big. And according to Barry Meadows, horses that win by big margins, they come back to win the next race by more than 15%. So that, in my book, is an alpha angle. And then we agree. Too Soon is next for me as my second selection in here, Thomas. Improving in every race so far in its short career. And quite frankly, if this one takes another similar step forward, it might be tough to top. And then I too, going to go with Shackleton, putting it in the 3rd spot for me as well. Really no bad races in 3, Tom, versus bigger fields. I kind of like when these horses that are young face off against more horses than you see a horse win by 3 or 4 and only beat 2 or 3 other horses. I don't place as much emphasis on that because you just don't know how good those other 2 or 3 horses were. Deep fields, you might have 13 bad ones, but statistically, at least one of them's got to be good. So beating a deep field is the reason I put this one in the 3rd spot. I'm curious to see. It's probably going to be in the 1st spot, according to the predictor, I would guess, though. Looks like a competitive race here. Bam. Shackleton beats Country Mayo by a nose at the wire. Stars in Her Eyes, Green Storm, Too Soon, Dunamase. They're in there as well, Tom. So Shackleton is the winner, according to the predictor. I kind of thought that would be the case. Our other 2 horses kind of off the pace a little bit there, Tom. So let's see if they can make up some ground, according to the predictor. And then we're going to move off to race number 3 as we're doing the first 5 races. When we post our picks over on horseracingtoday.net, our good friend Thomas has also done the other 2 races 6 and 7. So you'll get a full card of selections from 22 to 1. Thomas, but before we do that, we'll go off to 1 mile for the Emirates Autumn Stakes, another Group 3, a Class 1 for our favorite class of horses. Those 2-year-olds were just about anything and go. But hey, the last time we were at Newmarket and we tackled the field of 2-year-olds, we had nothing but winners, baby. So let's just see if those 2-year-olds can be as predictable again. 1 mile, really nothing changing, just going down that straightaway again. Shortening up a little bit to 1 mile, Tom, did it make a difference in terms of running style and where they wanted to be on the track?
In a small field, I would say they're going to run up the middle. Right. And I would say more towards the far side rail. Seems to be the track they're taking. We'll see what the track's like tomorrow. I mean, that's, as I said before, the trainers and the jockeys walk the track in the morning and try to find the best path. And sometimes you get right, and sometimes you're still running.
Well, hopefully you got it right in your picks, Tom. Again, only 6 horses in this one, so I'm limited to 3 picks again, as is Tom No Scratches. Let's see how many overlap. Start us off.
All right, we'll start with 4, Silver Peak. Winner at Haydock the last time out, went off as the favorite. It was a 1 mile race. It was a small field of 5, so similar to what it's going to run today. He raced last in this race, but was in touch with the field and then just blew him away. First start was an even effort, I think, but I'm going to go with needed a race. And the wind was on with a little more moisture in the ground. I think that may have helped too. So I'm going to put it on top. And you're not going to go completely wrong with Buick and Appleby.
Kind of hard.
3, Nightwalker is going to be the next choice. Last out made all the running in a 7 furlong race and raced a bit green in the race, but still seemed to win. And it went a little bit all over the place too in that race. But won by 2 lengths, so maybe something there. And her first start, again, she's back to that messy thing. And it was a messy race, and she was all over the track. So she really improved markedly from race to race and still running green. So you got to think this horse has got some more upside.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I'm going to take 1, De La Croix as my final choice. Ran second in a really small field of 4 in a group 2. She's beaten Green Impact twice, which I think it's interesting. Or I should say she's been beaten by Green Impact twice. And that horse is not here. But the other ones, we won her maiden when you didn't have that horse. And even though in that race, that maiden win in 7 furlongs, she acted up in the gate. So she's been a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to point out one thing about her. She's by a horse by the name of T-Pin. T-Pin was a champion turf horse in this country, won at Royal Ascot. So there's some really good breeding in this one. So I think they're thinking big things for this one.
So this is a 6-horse field, Thomas. And between you and I, we picked 5 of the 6 horses. There's an odd horse out. That being the case, that's the one you should probably single in here, because the one that neither one of us picked is Wolf of Badenoch at 7-1. So folks, forget everything Tom and I had to say. We agree on one horse. We both put it third. So the one horse that we didn't pick is Wolf of Badenoch. That one you can circle. You can single that one up in your vertical bets, because I started off with Stanhope Gardens as my top selection in here. That one, I was, like I mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of horses that beat small fields. Many of these horses have beaten small fields to get their maiden wins. This one comfortably beat a field of 9. Again, I like those horses that run big races against bigger fields. I think a bigger race is coming today for Stanhope Gardens. Genealogy, the 2-horse, is next for me. Been consistently good in both of its races with small improvement. Sometimes horses, you see that first race, there's usually a big jump in the second race. There's not a big jump and there's a little bit of a upward tick. Maybe that big jump is coming in the 3rd race today. And then we both have De La Croix as our 3rd selection. Again, Tom, as you mentioned, raced well against a field of just 4 last time out. 2nd place finish in a group 2. I think that's going to merit a lot of activity on this horse in terms of being the favorite. I'm going to try to beat it with the 5 and the 2, but as I mentioned, the only one we don't have is the 6. So there you go, folks. That's going to be your winner. And let's see what Predictor says. Predictor says, bang! It's going to be De La Croix, then Genealogy, Wolf of Badenoch. It says we were correct putting that one at the back of our picks. Thomas, we'll see if that's how it works out. It'd be almost funny if that horse actually won Wolf of Badenoch. Yeah, like yesterday with the Terry and I over at Belmont at the Big A. The late pick 4, I had the top pick win the first 3 races, and then my 5th pick I didn't put into my picks, and I went 4 deep. The 3-horse, and I was like flipping a coin between the first time starter and the 3-horse, and I knew right away. I'm like, all right, before the race season starts, it's almost like I I manifested it. I'm like, yeah, that 3 horse is going to beat me. And sure enough, that's what happened. Hopefully that doesn't happen in race number 4 for you and I here, Tom. This one is the Darley Dewhurst Stakes. They continue to kind of shorten up on the track a little bit. They're going to go just 7 furlongs. I can't imagine that'll change the way they run, Tom, and who's going to be where on the track. So just take it away with your thoughts and your picks for this one.
Yeah, and last year's winner was City of Troy, who was a pretty good horse. So
not bad. Any City of Troy's in here?
Maybe. That 5, Shadow of Light, is going to be my top choice. I liked it last time out, and it won nicely, and by 4 lengths plus. And it beat a really good group of 2-year-olds in that race. And one of them was Whistle Jacket, who is heading for the Breeders' Cup. He appears to want a little bit of softness in the ground, and he won't go off of the odds he went last time. A little better odds. It wasn't big odds, but yeah, he still got a nice price. And he wasn't the favorite, but this time around he will be. 6, the Lion in Winter is going to be my next choice. So won his first 2 starts, something to spare. Last time was a Group 3 at this distance, and he beat a next time out winner. So competitive race. Going to be a tough one. I think will be the favorite in this race. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. 2, Expanded is going to be my final choice. So he's one of the first and only start at the Curragh. He had some issues in that race, but still at the beginning, he didn't get out to the best of starts. He still won by a neck. If you look in this race, you see Aidan O'Brien 3 times.
Think he's going to win this one?
He's got a good chance, but
50% chance, I'd say.
It's also interesting. This is probably the lowest ranked of his horses in this race, but he's got Tarmac Kwan on, and this is he rode today for him on a mount, and he doesn't normally use him. So I think it's interesting on one that's showing some interest in racing. We'll see. I mean, you're going to get some odds on this one. And you never know with some of his horses. If you get it's nice to get a Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien horse at a price. You can also find some of the little value in some of these ones that are supposedly second stringers. And this is a pretty good horse. And also, I should point out, Whistle Jacket is trained by Aidan O'Brien. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these races.
Aside from really the 2 obvious picks in here, if the race goes to form, and I kind of expect that's what's going to happen, minus Ancient Truth, you're going to get a price on anything else. I think Shadow of Light, the Lion of Winter, Shadow of Light is 3/4 of a length of being undefeated in 4 races. Interestingly, William Buick, who rode the one last time out, stays on the 5 horse. Number 6, the Lion of Winter. I mean, you could put those 2 1A, however you want to do it. Unbeaten in a pair of easy wins. We'll see what it's like. You don't know how good a horse is, as the Australian handicapper once said, until it loses. And then I'm going to go with the longest shot on the board here, Tom. Rock of Cashel. You mentioned there's another Aidan O'Brien horse in there. Well, that's another one right there. How about that? But the reason I went this route is because if you look at jockey Wayne Lorden, this guy's winning at 20% during the last 2 weeks. It's a pretty good number, but that number is actually coming down a little bit. He gets off the 2 horse, the one you talked about before, Expanded, to ride Rock of Cashel. Makes you wonder. He's winning at a higher rate than Tom Marquand is. So it really makes you wonder why he's making that switch. I'm sure he was given a choice, and he chose this one at 80-1. So I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna roll the dice, baby. Daddy needs some new shoes. Come on, Wayne Lorden, come home for me.
Well, and keep in mind that as I think everybody knows, but was bear repeating. Ryan Moore's first call rider for Aidan O'Brien. Wayne Lorden's the second call rider. So he does get some really good mounts.
And he had to have a choice between the 2, and he picked one for a reason.
I would be very surprised if he didn't.
So
and somebody's tipping it, if you know. So
I just looked at that because you noticed there was a little bit of musical chairs on the jockeys in this race, and I was just like, what are they trying to tell us? And I think a lot of times, to be honest with you, sometimes I think I read into it too much, but maybe just Expanded is a good enough horse that no matter who rides it, it's going to do well. But it could be, and that this horse performed the best under Wayne Norden. I don't know, but I just saw that switch, and I thought it was interesting coming off of that good race for the 2. All right, let's talk about the predictor.
And it's moving up and only has 1 race, so we don't know. They're 2-year-olds.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, an 80-1 hell. If that one comes home the winner, I'll be happy as hell. And it looks like Lion in the Winter, Shadow of Light, just like we thought. Rock of Cashel right there for that 3rd place, nosed out maybe a little bit by Ancient Truth. Seagulls 11 and Expanded way back there, Thomas. So maybe he made the right choice. We'll see. Last race for you and I, of course, it's going to be the most challenging of the bunch. This is the Club Godolphin. Cesarewitch Handicap. This is the one with, 25 horses, is it? Right? Yeah. 25. Max of 34.
Right now, 25. Max is 34.
They're going to go 2 miles and 2 furlongs. That's a little bit of a ways to run. 2 miles and 2 furlongs all the way to hell back here. They're going to come down, Tom, make that turn, then run that straightaway all the others have run until this point. So 2 miles, 2 furlongs. Do you want to be on this rail over here to the inside, or is it better to be over here to the outside?
I'm going to say post position. So
the outside, right?
You want the outside, yeah. Looks like the case is going to be that, but we'll see.
So the outside, this is the inside right in here, right, where all the writing is on the outside. So you want these horses out here that can make that turn. And you mentioned before at the start that horses, from 16 and out have won how many?
I think the last 17 times or something like that.
That's pretty good.
It's a big number.
Yeah, it's a pretty big number. I would concur with that. All right. Well, we know we want horses on the outside. They're probably that distance going to start off at a jog and then build up momentum and then really take off at the end. So a good closing kick, probably the way to the winner's circle, Tom?
I would think so. For the race will really get going 3 furlongs out.
Right as they go under those undulations and go back up the hill.
It's jockeying for position, and then they'll sprint.
All right, so when you put your numbers in the hat and you pull them out, which one was the first one that came out of the bag, Tom?
I start with number 1. It's Queenstown. Besides having a good draw, I tossed out that last race because it was a mess from start to finish. It was just a mess. So the horse won a maiden, and then he ran 2nd and 3rd in 3 races. And he was facing Aidan O'Brien's top horse, Kryptos, who's the champion stayer in the UK and Ireland without question, and probably the best stayer right now in training. This is a much better spot for this horse, and I think just throw out that last race. It was just a mess. I think this is a really good spot. The team that's in there is kind of interesting, and if I can get 16-1 on them, I'll be very happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take 2. Samu ran a listed race the last time at this track and ran 3rd in a small field of 5. Of course, this is hardly a field of 5.
Times 5.
Yeah.
A factor of 5, if I remember. Isn't that what they called in the math? A factor?
Yeah. A little different type of race for sure. The best way to describe his effort was it was even. But, here, this is a horse that mainly goes over the fences. So he can definitely stay the distance. But I went and looked at his stat for flat record. Running on the flat, no jumps. Well, not intentional jumps, I mean. He has 6 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds.
Yeah, it's 100%. More math.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I couldn't leave him off my ticket. Just on that alone, and
even on that 9 post.
Well, remember winning. Okay, so winning, not necessarily running second.
All right.
Okay, and finally, I'm going to take
only 3 in the 25 horse field. I'm impressed.
Only 3. I I should have taken another one, but I didn't. Number 22, Godolphin Cavern is my final choice. You got to really page down for this sucker.
Yeah, I found him all the way down here.
Yeah. This is a horse who hadn't raced in 459 days. Went off the favorite at Galway on a soft going and ran second. That's a long time off. And a handicap. I mean, this is a horse. They put him over the fences in the past. Nothing. Put him on the flat. He's been okay. And that's why I'm going to put him in the money. Somebody knew something, and it looks like he's still being bet.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't say the draw is awful for this one.
No,
I would say it's probably right where it could make some effort here. Now, I should also point out I started out with 8 horses to get down to 3. So,
yeah, I mean 8 horses, even getting down to 8 is a difficult task, and somehow from 8 to 3, Tom, and we both land on the same one to start our picks. Queenstown. Ryan Moore, over the last couple of weeks, winning at a healthy 42%. I kind of alluded at that at the beginning of the show right there. And I was thinking, I obviously Aidan O'Brien horse top call, but what's he doing on this one anyway, considering the odds? Some whispers, I guess, from Aidan O'Brien, this one might be ready to run a big one. Number 10, and funnily, I didn't even think about the post position, Tom. I ended up with the number 25. I'm curious to see where my other horses are. Well, I don't even know what Nadawi, maybe go with that one for the 10 horse. Is that how you would pronounce that?
I think so.
It is the way I'll pronounce it today. But anyway, the last time this horse run was on turf was 2 races back. If it can repeat that race, which was a first up effort, just like today, he has the potential to, as I put it, smoke this field. Number 3, Dawn Rising. Let's see where that one is. That one's post 18. So accidentally on the outside, Tom.
You're in the area they say is where you want to be.
Yeah, it's amazing. I get these things right on accident sometimes. But last time out, the last time the horse made a second start after the layoff, wasn't just a little bit of improvement. The horse took a huge improvement. I'm hoping for that cycle to wash, rinse, repeat, with a visit to the winner's enclosure. And let's see if the same thing holds true if I got lucky with the post positions on this one. Oh, look at this, Tom. Just straight luck. Alphonse Le Grande, baby. My first email was El Hombre Grande. So it's a horse of the course based upon name. But this one either wins or he doesn't do anything. My favorite style of horse to bet on, the win or nothing type, Tom. And aside from the 12, most of these horses in this race have not made much money in 2024. This one has made the second most money, about $1,900 less than the 12, but did so in 6 races compared to 11 races for the 12 horse. So actually made the most money per start in 2024 for this field. That's why that one gets my 4th selection. So we'll find out. I'm just curious to see if we have anything with the predictor. Well, it looks like there's a clear-cut winner. Premier Linne. I'm sorry. We don't have that one. Bashful Boy. I don't remember that one. Run for Oscar. We don't have that one. Sea of Sands. We don't have that one. Magellan Strait. We don't have that one. Do either one of us have Samai? Do you have that one, Tom? I don't think so, right?
No, Samai. Yeah, I have Samai.
All right. That's the only one, according to the predictor, that has got a shot to win. Well, I hope the predictor is wrong. Any sense of what might be on tap for us next week, Tom?
It's very easy. It's Ascot for British Champions Day.
All right.
So that's and we have seen horses come out of those races for Breeders' Cup. So
the Breeders' Cup's not all that far away either. Just a couple of weeks away, right?
Nope,
3 weeks
in November. Yeah.
And that'll be the first weekend of November. That'll be a lot of fun. Of course, we'll have that all covered. We'll try to do some programming here. I know every year Tom and I have previewed all the international horses at the Breeders' Cup. That'll probably be our Foreign Friday. We can't do it for it Friday. We'll have to do it Wednesday or Thursday to get it done.
Yeah, I have to do it earlier because Friday they'll start racing.
Mm-hmm. So we'll do our 4 and Friday will be a preview of all the international horses at the Breeders' Cup. And to make sure you don't miss it, make sure you follow us on all of our social sites. You see them streaming down there below. If you like what you saw, kindly give us a thumbs up, a like, a retweet, anything to help us out with the algorithms, because any interactivity, come back and watch, as I mentioned. We'll timestamp every race for tomorrow at Newmarket. We certainly appreciate that. Appreciate you spending time with us. Appreciate or look forward to spending time with you at Ascot next week. Monday and Tuesday, Terry and I will do Parks. Wednesday, we'll hook up at Keeneland. And Thursday, Belmont at the Big A again. Thomas, any words of wisdom from you before we get out of here and start preparing for Ascot?
That last race we did, look at the high posts.
Yes, indeed. And I somehow accidentally have all of them in my picks.
And you did right.
not by design, simply by accident, which I feel like is the best way to handicap sometimes.
It's crystal ball handicapping, right?
That's right. The number out of a hat theory works sometimes. All right, folks, no matter what you're doing for the rest of this Friday or this weekend, we certainly hope all your life's endeavors, everything that you're chasing, as God's grace, God's favor, and everything on that side of the ocean ends up in
the winner's enclosure.
Indeed. Have a fantastic weekend and good luck in that 25-horse field. See you on Monday.